Time for me to do another quickie and rant a little bit. The next actual Horror Hotel episode will be about the Hellraiser Cube. So, yeah, you gotta wait for that. Until then, here we go. Sometimes I take a moment to really think about what's being put out in the world of horror, and especially the big screen. And sometimes it hits me that why people think horror is kinda lame might have to do with the fact that the movies we see at the cinemas. Usually when something is in the cinema in Sweden, it goes by the line of Paranormal Activity or Lights Out. Two movies I personally have nothing against existing, but it's clear it's horror for a wide audience and ultimately not that scary or exciting at all. Let me elaborate that thought for a bit, because I think it's kind of important to show these movies as well for the big numbers, because without big numbers, horror movies is not going to get a budget at all to be made, and producers will back away. But the thing that hits me is that they always go after the safe pattern in order to make a movie scary. We got a house someone or a family moves into, it has a dark secret, the jump scares, there's usually spirit involvement, sometimes amnesia or something along that line. It gets a little bit boring, the movies usually progress the same and eventually end up in a climax in which a person either dies or becomes a ghost or moves out of the house. We know big companies can do something else. The Saw series from Lionsgate is one such example. I am thinking about movies like Sinister, Paranormal Activity and Lights Out, for example. Some movies tries to differ from the theme, but in the end it's the same, like The Forest, for example, and I'm kinda tired of this kind of movies, because they do really hog the spotlight, especially here in Sweden, because our cinemas just buys in these really big name productions to watch. They brought in the remake of Carrie and showed it for a week in total, and I didn't have time to go see it, which I really wanted to, and that just blows. No wonder people think that horror is so boring when this is the only thing they put up on the screen of, well, at least for what I have seen. But there are some lights in the tunnel after all. I had the pleasure to actually see some really entertaining stuff lately that brings me some hope to the table. Don't Breathe, The Shallows, Green Room, and The Pretty Thing That Lives in the House at least are trying some interesting newer ideas. For example, the whole reversed role thing in Don't Breathe when the protagonists are the home invaders is something I haven't seen much of before. The Shallows must be the best shark movie in a long time. And I am the pretty thing that lives in the house certainly isn't for everyone because it's a really slow burner. But, at least they are trying to make something else, All in all, I feel maybe I'm missing out a lot of deals since there aren't any real horror film festivals where I live, and maybe I should in the future try to start something like that up. Who knows. I would love to get my hands on these gems shown at indie festivals. Movies like Sweatshop won't turn up on regular cinema, even if it's a damn good movie. Also, I have noticed that a lot of these indie flicks end up on Netflix, so that's always a joy to see, and I actually think that we should support it as much as we can. Good horror movies most certainly don't grow on trees. Thank you everyone for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like or subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Twitch, in which I stream on daily almost, and well, I'll see you guys next time.